So briefly, I'd like to know what your design background is like, your ethos and your orientation.
Okay, basically I tilt towards the Western fashion. That's like the global kind of fashion, what the Western world loves to wear. And that's basically because growing up, I read, my siblings and I read and watched a lot of, magazines. So, but as I grew up, I started, mingling with society, and so that's where the traditional, fashion vibe came on. So basically, I would say it's a mix of both worlds. Yeah. So, yeah, I would say Western and traditional, but I think I like the, Western vibe, and this is not to say that I don't appreciate my culture and all, but yeah, I'm of the opinion that you can create anything you want, no matter where you're from. Look at Elon Musk. He's a white South African. He's building rockets in US. So you look at, there's this guy, one of my mentors, what's his name? Nigo of Baiting Ape. This guy is Japanese. And in the 90s, he used to create, this crazy urban stuff that rappers used to wear. Why wasn't he creating kimonos and stuff that Japanese people wear? So basically of the opinion that you can just create anything you want, no matter where you're from. Don't let culture or anything hold you back. So.
Oh yeah, that's quite interesting. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
I've seen some of the stuffs that you guys make at Appa.
Yeah.
They're quite very distinct, and I want to ask that, what is your process like? What makes you, or for someone like me, I don't know anything about it, so I just see what is in your mind. How do you come about this? Well, you told me now that your background, you saw a lot of magazines, a lot of videos, but then when it goes into actual production, what are the things that you consider? What makes you start and finish, like your process?
Okay, that's a very interesting question.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically I think I have two approaches.
Okay.
Yeah, the first one I call it the Jay-Z approach. Yeah, Jay-Z technically is like a very gifted rapper. I hear he just goes into the studio once he hears a beat and he just knocks it off. Like he doesn't write his raps.
Okay.
He doesn't write, he just goes in the studio and then he just does his thing. So for me, it's the same. Most times when I see the fabric, that's when I create. Like I could be like, probably after sourcing fabrics, I could be in our fabric room for hours, days, just like studying these fabrics and then designing them in my mind. Yeah, just so just looking at them and checking them out. Then that's basically like my major process. At the same time, I also have preconceived designs, that I'm like, oh, okay, this comes to me, then I put it down. I'm not a very good sketch artist. I'm more of like sketch my mind kind of artist. So they just put it down, rough ideas. But technically, I would say the Jay-Z approach to the normal sketch on paper approach is like 80 to 20. But hopefully, like in the future, real soon, we'll have like sketch artists, illustrators, like a team of designers where we can do like, some world-class, proper design structure kind of things.
If you say, just looking at fabrics and you mean like ideas jump at you, man, I must call you like a creative god, man. Like just observing the fabrics. All right, now, you talked about the Jay-Z approach and the normal approach.
Yeah.
Okay, so after thinking about these ideas and you have them, so how do you make sure that they're well executed, thoroughly furnished?
Okay, so basically I have a team of like well-trained designers. So I make sure that everybody who works with Appa Regalia undergoes like crazy training, like real go through fire training, like the tailors, the cutters, the laundry, to the quality control, to even the person retailing. So make sure that everything is on point. And I'm actually very hands-on, like very, very hands-on in the process. Sometimes I even make sure I'm in the lab. Most times I'm in the lab. Like I call our factory a laboratory, their factory. Yeah, so I'm always there making sure that, top-notch stuff always.
That's nice. The detailing and the enormous work that goes into making beautiful garments from your company.
Thank
I
you.
also like to ask you that there's a thing called retail fashion, bespoke tailoring.
Yes.
Why retail fashion over bespoke tailoring? What's your opinion?
Okay. So I started out with bespoke tailoring.
Okay.
Yeah, I started out with bespoke tailoring. Yeah.
And what would you say bespoke tailoring is?
Bespoke tailoring is basically customized tailoring, like what almost everyone in Nigeria grew up with. I mean, every family had a tailor. They measure you and they sew to your fit and taste. But like I said, my design background has always been magazines, videos I watched and everything. So it's always tilted more towards retail fashion. I mean, that's what the Western world has always done. So right from when I started, it was always there. But starting out, when people get to know you and everything, everyone wants, what they do, and then you need to raise money, you need to do stuff. So initially, that was where it was. But as the brand grew, the cost started to come out. So I decided, like, okay, best retail fashion. With retail, you're able to create anything. I'm someone who loves to create. Just create anything that comes to mind. So, you can just come up with ideas, and then you don't have to, with bespoke, you have to literally take into consideration everybody's customized needs. I mean, I want to sell to 10 million people. How can I measure 10 million people? You feel me? So I figured, just create amazing stuff in, well-scaled sizes, and, just sell out. You can sell to people you don't even know, like they just love your product from somewhere and they just pick it up. Yeah, so it's more flexible, it gives me the freedom to express and think. Yeah,
looking at what you said now, I could just pick it up. Bespoke tailoring is more limited.
I wouldn't like to say that. I mean, it's our mainstay in Nigeria and Africa. It's like, if I'm saying that means I'm like dumping down people's efforts. That's like the majority of what the industry is about. But I mean, if you're someone who really loves to just create endlessly and you can do stuff, bespoke tailoring might not be the best thing for you to go into. It's still something that, even if you're doing retail fashion, once in a while you can compromise, probably for very high-end demand, and stuff. I mean, even the Benzes and the Toyotas and the top brands, they still do, but it's on another level. So basically, retail fashion, I just want to keep creating amazing clothing.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Great. How would you describe your target markets? Who are your audience?
Basically, people who love originality, people who connect with the product, that they just say and like they vibe with it. Every brand has its voice, its fragrance, how people say. So, you could walk into a perfume store and, they give you stuff to smell. You choose the one. So basically, we're just trying to create a very different, beautiful, fragrance in fashion. I mean, clothes and everything. We'll still do perfumes, I'm sure, at some point. Yeah. So people who connect with the brand, who love originality, and people who
are these people young, old, middle age?
Everybody. I've always said, like, from age 0 to 70. My dad is 70 and he wears Appa regalia. You understand? Everybody. That's why I said we just create all kinds of stuff. So, and then people who are ready to dip into their pockets, well, to who don't mind spending anything for good stuff.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Looking at Nigerian fashion industry,
yeah,
what would you say the future of Nigerian African fashion is?
That's an amazing question. So when Burna won the Grammy and Whiskey won the Grammy, I was telling some of my guys that this win is not just for music. It's for entertainment, it's for everything. Like, they kind of opened up, Africa to something new. Recently, David Wedge, the Lagos designer, he's into retail. That's like one of my top bosses and mentors. that I look up to. He just opened a store in UK. It's getting massive. It's going to be really big, and it's getting big, but it's going to be an individual influence, the way music has done it, not necessarily government. And it's not going to be, it's going to grow not based on industrial proportions like infrastructure, because I mean, it's government that should provide infrastructure, but you know, in terms of personnel and, you know, people individually pushing stuff. I also see, you know, in the next couple of years when, you know, the world has really caught on African fashion, you know, brands like Gucci, Balenciaga, you know, all of that. Those are the brands I've always dreamt to be like anyway. You know, they always hire creative directors. So imagine, you know, Gucci coming to Africa and saying, oh, they want to start designing, because the world has caught up on Africa and they want to design Afro-inspired stuff. They'll come down to Nigeria, you know, and pick top dogs who can design from the African point of view as creative directors. It's happening already, even though not necessarily what's it called, core Africans. Look at Virgil Abloh. This guy is like the owner of Off-White, and he's still creative director of Louis Vuitton, a black guy. Look at Kanye, I mean, stuff, Yeezy. Jerry Lorenzo, Fear of God. These are black guys, you know. He owns Fear of God and he's creative director for Adidas. These are black guys doing amazing stuff. Black Americans though. There's this brand to Daily Paper. I think the owners are from Senegal or one of these West African countries. They're in Holland doing amazing. It's a global brand. So it's catching on like crazy. So I can imagine in a few years, we're going to have household, household names all over the world.
Great. All right. Just like you said about having a global view in mind, I'd like to also ask that for you, fortune or fame, which would you rather be for you?
I mean, definitely. I mean, fortune always. People.
You don't want to be famous?
Well, okay. I feel fame is overrated and has too much pressure. You know, I was watching the Jerry Lorenzo interview the other day. Talked about fame being, the Hebrew word of fame is weight. You know, I feel like it's a lot of pressure. It distracts you from, you know, the actual goal. I have, in where we started from, Akure, tasted a bit of our brand being known, and I see that it's amazing, but it's for me it has always been about just putting in the work. That's first things first. I love the money, of course, but putting in the work and, you know, just doing top-notch, excellent stuff always. If the fame comes, fine, but like that's not top. I just want a dope brand out there in the world. Basically, I want people to connect so much to the brand and, you know, just love us for what we do.
That's interesting. Thank you very much for a great time.